Good afternoon. I'm Robert Gibbs. I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees of Hope Credit Union. Tonight is our 2022 annual meeting. I'm delighted that all of you have joined us tonight. We have some exciting news about what we have accomplished this last year, and we look forward to sharing that with you tonight. We also have two very special guests with us. We have Chef Ordinaire, Nick Wallace, and a staple in our community with WLBT News, Maggie Wade. You'll get to hear them later in the evening. I'm going to say that we have a quorum because we have quite a few people who are attending. So with that, I'm going to officially open our meeting tonight by asking for you who have reviewed the minutes of our last meeting. I would like to have those approved, so I need a motion and a second so we could approve the minutes.
This is Nettie Winters. I move for the approval of the minutes.
This is Alice Graham. I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
And you may unmute at this time.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Is there any opposition? Thank you. The minutes for last year will be approved. The next agenda item is the Nominating Committee's report. The Nominating Committee consists of yours truly, Carolyn Jefferson, Ann Shackelford, Ivy Allen, and Bill Bynum. The candidates for board membership this year includes Ivy Allen, David Jackson, Barnard Mays, George Pennick, and Ann Shackelford. I'm pleased to tell you that all of these individuals are current board members of Hope Credit Union. They have done an outstanding job of being a board member. The entire board is doing outstanding things, and as you will hear tonight, how this credit union is just moving forward. So the nominating committee is recommending these candidates to return as directors for a 3-year term. I will need a motion and a second so we can move that forward.
It's Nettie Winters. I so move.
Alice Graham. I second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second that Ivy Allen, David Jackson, Barnard Mays, George Pennick, and Ann Shackelford will return for a 3-year term on the board. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, is there any opposition? Or if not, I welcome Ivy Allen, David Jackson, Barnard Mays, George Pennick, and Ann Shackelford back as board members for another 3 years. We're going to move from there to some board reports, and as I said, you're going to hear some outstanding things tonight. I'm going to tell you who's going to speak, and then I'm going to get out of the way, and they will follow each other. First, we will have a retail and mortgage report by Pearl Wicks, a commercial and CED report by Cassandra Williams, a financial report by Alan Branson, the Audit Supervisory Committee report by Crystal Woodard, and then our CEO, Bill Bynum, will come forward with additional remarks.
Thank you, Judge Gibbs. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to share with you some highlights from our retail and mortgage area for 2021 and some forward-looking goals we have for 2022. In the retail area in 2021, we ended well in terms of our new members, new checking accounts, products and services, as well as loans. Our small business lending area missed the target. However, we are encouraged by the continued growth and enhancement that we have in our small business area. We have new small business lenders in our various markets, and so we're excited with what the growth that we are expecting from that. We introduced 3 new business accounts designed to offer enhanced services to our business account owners, and we've already seen great results from that. We reopened our branch lobbies. Our branch lobbies were closed due to COVID operations, and so we reopened our branch lobbies in May, and we're very excited about that. Our members can now walk into our lobbies and be served. Our products and services, we're excited that we're using alternative products such as our online banking, debit card and mobile deposits that are bringing enhanced products and services to our members. And as I said, with our loan production, we are excited about the growth that we're looking forward to seeing with that. You all were able to take advantage of our auto loan promotion last year, so we're very excited about that. Impact continues to be strong in our retail area with small dollar loans and credit builder loans. In the mortgage area, last year, we fell short of our target in production, but the good news is that area is off to a good start for this year. Our mortgage area continues to have high impact, serving members. More than 90% of our mortgage borrowers are first-time home buyers, female home buyers, and people of color. The mortgage loss mitigation team worked with our members in 2021 to help them navigate through the uncertainties left by COVID, working through forbearances and just meeting them where they were to find the best solution to keep them in their mortgage. We are excited about the opportunities to move forward into 2022. We continue to have strong pipelines in both our consumer and mortgage area. One of the things that we're looking forward to as we move into 2022 is enhanced technology. We learned through COVID the importance of easy access to our members to get access to loans and accounts online. So we're definitely looking to enhance technology, service excellence in all levels, and then strengthening our partnerships through our Hope Affinity networks, which are our networks and partnerships working with our employers, our school groups, our churches, and other organizations to provide affordable financial products and services to our members. Thank you for your time this evening, and I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Cassandra Williams.
Good afternoon. Well, good evening. Thank you, Pearl. The commercial and community and economic development team had a productive year as well. We closed out the Paycheck Protection Program and assisted over 5,200 borrowers. We launched our online grocery project in Drew, Mississippi, and this provides an alternative groceries to the residents of Drew. Drew is part of our community, Hope Community Partnership, and we do have plans to expand that to other partners within the community. We received $55 million in allocation of New Markets tax credits and recently deployed $14 million to Memphis Union Mission, a homeless shelter here in Memphis that provides supportive services. We also closed out an $8 million transaction to Lauderdale Community Hospital. It's located in Lauderdale, Tennessee, and it's a replacement hospital for that community. We have a pipeline of projects that include community facilities, healthcare, and educational facilities. There have been some transitions on our team, but we've also added some additional talent to support our work. We stood up a new portfolio management area and our plans are to continue to utilize technology to help us become more efficient. We also plan to add an online application before the end of the year. And as we move forward, we look to deepen our partnerships with our HBCU partners through our Deep South Economic Mobility Collaborative. Appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
We ended the year 2021 with approximately $468 million in assets, which is a growth of about $100 million over 2020, and a strong capital position. Growth in 2021 was primarily driven by new members and increases in core deposits through Hope's transformational deposit campaign. In response to uncertainty related to the pandemic, Hope continued to increase its allowance for loan losses during 2021, although to date we have not experienced an increase in portfolio losses and plan to begin reducing our allowance during 2022. The growth in Hope's deposits positions us to increase lending in all three of our portfolios, consumer, mortgage, and commercial. and also reduce Hope's use of higher cost certificates to fund lending activities. Overall income in 2021 was on budget. Interest revenues were greater than budgeted and operating expenses were under budget. And Hope is positioned to continue growing in 2022 by bringing on additional capital and low-cost deposits to support increased lending. For the Hope Enterprise Corporation, we ended 2021 with approximately $265 million in assets and a strong capital position. Growth over the last several years has primarily been driven by new market tax credit projects, credit enhancement programs, and the Paycheck Protection Program. In 2021, the growth was continued with round 2 of the Paycheck Protection Program, and that resulted in about $60 million in loans to more than 2,500 small businesses. The SBA forgiveness has been processed for more than $100 million of the $140 million that we originated in rounds 1 and 2, and we expect the rest of the PPP loans to be forgiven in 2022. Our revenues and income in 2021 exceeded budget expectations, and HEC is expected to grow more slowly in 2022 as the remaining PPP loan forgiveness partially offsets anticipated new projects of about $50 million. So I'm going to turn the program over to Crystal Woodard, who's Hope's Senior Vice President of Compliance, who will provide an update from the Supervisory Committee.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to give the update for the Supervisory Committee. First, we'll talk about the roles of the committee. They verify management's financial reporting activities have been met. They review examination and audit findings and ensure that management takes the necessary actions for any corrective actions that may have been issued. They confirm the accuracy and the integrity of the credit union's financial statements and ensure compliance of internal controls, research formal complaints, but most importantly, ensure the safety of our members' assets. In 2021, despite the impacts of COVID-19, the credit union completed a very robust internal audit plan with over 25 audit modules that included the Bank Secrecy Act, information security, fair lending, and the lending controls. For the safety of our team members, all audits were conducted off-site. The 2021 regulatory exam went well. All findings and responses were reviewed. The 2020 audit plan is well underway, with this year's examination tentatively scheduled for the late summer of this year. We are honored to serve you and encourage you to reach out to the Supervisory Committee with any questions that you may have. I now turn it over to Bill Bynum. Thank you.
I hope that everyone got a sense of what so many of us already know, how special Maggie and Nick are. I want to thank them for showing us, no matter where you start, how far hard work and being a good person can take you. I'll try not to keep you too much longer, but I do want to take some time to share a few noteworthy highlights from the past year and some exciting plans for the months ahead. As my colleagues shared, over the past year, we continued driving paycheck protection loans to help keep businesses open and keep people employed. We produced more than 5,200 paycheck protection loans over a course of 20 months. We normally do 50 business loans in a year. That totaled more than $140 million. 90% of those went to borrowers of color. And if you paid attention to the news, you knew that 40+% of all black businesses closed following the pandemic, the highest rate of any segment of the population. Half of our paycheck protection loans went to women. It is significant that Hope is a woman-owned financial institution, and we are majority owned by people of color. Our average paycheck protection loan size was $27,000 compared to roughly $70,000 naturally. So mom and pop businesses that were anchor employers in some of the most fragile communities. So we were proud to help them. We also started the year by beating the drum in terms of what it would take for communities to get on the other side of the economic, social justice, and health crisis. Karen Mills, the former head of the Small Business Administration, joined us in an economic mobility forecast talking about what businesses could anticipate in the months ahead. Stacey Abrams opened a forum of our Policy Institute on solutions to address criminal justice debt. Have so many people of color who are trapped in the criminal justice system and unable to get access to affordable, responsible financial services. Our work has always been anchored in partnerships. We launched the Deep South Economic Mobility Collaborative. That's a partnership with cities, with Birmingham, with Montgomery, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Little Rock, Memphis, and Jackson. It built on our work with small towns in the Delta: Drew, Shaw, Itabena, Moorhead, Yazoo City, Utica, Louisville, and East Mississippi, where we worked with those communities and asked them what they need to help their residents, the most vulnerable residents, climb the economic ladder. We've been driving resources into those communities, first starting with the Paycheck Protection loans, and now we're working with them to help make sure that the billions in federal dollars that are being driven into the economy don't only benefit those who have historically been on the front lines, but it benefits those families, businesses, and communities in our region who need it most, who are too often left on the outside looking in. We launched an online grocery store in the food deserts in the Mississippi Delta. We partnered with clergy, over 40 churches, faith-based organizations in Memphis, part of the Black Clergy Collaborative, to tackle payday lending. We worked with Netflix, who was our first $10 million depositor back in 2020, and produced a Banking on Us series that they launched on their social media, talking about how their deposit is transforming communities in our region and encouraging other corporations to follow suit. And at the end of the year of 2021, we had generated more than $100 million in transformational deposits, low-cost deposits that import capital into capital-starved regions. That has come from hundreds of individuals, and some of the world's largest corporations, as I said, have followed Netflix's lead: PayPal, DaVita, Nike. We ended the year with a forum where the head of global cash for Nike joined Lisa Mensa, former U.S. Undersecretary for Rural Development and Hope board member, in a conversation about how to continue to close opportunity gaps in underserved communities across the country. I'm glad to say that, quite honestly, our future has never been brighter at Hope. We ended the year financially stronger than we've ever been. We're upgrading our service and our systems, rolling out a marketing campaign soon so that we can tell even more people and do even more to improve lives across the Deep South. We've taken stories from our members, from you, from the communities we serve, to the halls of power, testifying before the Senate Banking Committee, the House Financial Service Committee. We closed the year with Vice President Harris and Treasury Secretary Yellen at the Cash Room in Washington when they announced an $88 million investment in Hope, the largest in our history. $88 million. It took us 14 years to grow to $14 million, and in one day we got at $88 million that's going to catapult our growth into the future. We were born in the 90s, mid-90s, as a $1.5 million loan fund focused on improving jobs and conditions in the Delta, here in Mississippi, in Arkansas, and Louisiana, and as a volunteer church project in Jackson to combat payday lending in low-income communities of color. In the not distant future, Hope will be a $1.5 billion financial institution. Small compared to some of the mega banks, but it is a lot of opportunity to invest in some of the most underserved communities in this country. I would argue that we are the most impactful financial institution in the country. Very few are doing as much in the communities with the people that we serve as Hope. Our work has never been more important. I want to thank my colleagues at Hope. Not only are they some of the hardest working people I know, but their dedication and their commitment is beyond measure. I also want to thank the Hope boards, the Credit Union Enterprise Corporation Board of Directors, for volunteering their time, relationships, wisdom, and resources. Mostly, I want to thank you, our members, depositors, funders, and our partners. We cannot do this work by ourselves. It takes all of us. None of Hope's work would be possible without your support, and for this, we are deeply thankful. I'm looking forward to working with all of you to make even more good trouble in the months and years to come. I've always wanted to do this. As I said, our future's so bright, I've got to wear shades. Thank you for being a member of Hope. Now I'll turn it back over to my chairman, Judge Gibbs.
Well, Bill, I don't have my shades on because I agree with you, the future is bright. As I stated in my initial remarks, you was going to hear a lot of great things about Hope tonight, and I think you've heard that. For Bill to say we're going to be a $1.5 billion financial institution, that's major, particularly from where we started. So hopefully all of you have learned something tonight. We all need to get our sunglasses because we got a bright future with Hope. So if there's nothing else, I'd like to entertain a motion. Oh, question and answers, right. All right, if we have any questions.
We do have one question. We do have one question from Thaddeus Bruce. It's, where did the $88 million come from?
It's a long story, but $88 million is from the Treasury Department. Our policy team led the way in advocating for increased investment in underserved communities. Hope's advocacy was actually language in the legislation that the House passed that came from our Policy Institute. As a result, $9 billion was made available to community development depositories, banks, and credit unions, and Hope was fortunate to be one of the recipients of the $88 million.
And at this time, we do invite anyone who may have a question. You can either put that into the chat, or if you'd like to raise your hand. And we do have a question from Mr., well, I thought Nettie was there, but Nettie lowered his hand.
Okay.
Is there anyone who would like to ask a question? Again, if you'd like to ask a question, simply raise your hand in the webinar feature. We have a question from Arlinder Jones. We're going to let her in, and Arlinder, you may go ahead and ask your question. I'm sorry, Arlinder, can you ask that question one more time? She wanted to know where they can get a copy of the financial statements.
You can go to online. We'll make sure that's posted on our website, www.hopecu.org, hopecu.org.
And we do not see any more raised hands at this time. So if no one else has a question.
Couldn't read it, Ed.
Okay, Bill, it's how can you find info on the rates for your home refinance offers?
Again, you can find our rate information on our website, hopecu.org/mortgage. Is that right?
But for the mortgage rates, the best way to do that is to actually talk to a mortgage originator, someone in one of our lending offices, and you can find that hopecu.org/home loans, and from there you can find a Hope lender in your area.
Thank you, Scott.
Okay, and we do have a question. How does Hope Credit Union plan to activate and deploy the $88 million from the Treasury Department?
The $88 million is capital. It is regulatory capital. It is actually a loan to the credit union, but it acts as equity, and every dollar of that can support $8 to $10 in deposits. So we will use that to support more transformational deposits. I encourage you to join individuals who have made deposits in Hope We have deposits from across the country. Those enable us to drive capital into places like the Delta. In some of our communities, the people unfortunately have not been able to generate the wealth to bring deposits in that you would find in more affluent communities. And so your deposits, transformation deposits, are a fuel that enable us to make more mortgage loans, more business loans, get people out of payday debt traps. And so it will allow us to support more deposits. We can't go out and, pay salaries with it, buy new buildings, anything like that. It's regulatory capital that fuels our growth. So more deposits, we get stronger, it increases our impact.
We do have one other question from Tiffany Gray. Just will there be a replay available of this meeting? And we will have that available on the website. We'll post that on social media and put it on our website as soon as we have that available.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions at this time? Again, we invite you to put that in the chat or raise your hand. Bill, seeing no other activity, I would just turn it back over to you and Mr. Gibbs to close out the meeting.
All right, if nothing else, I just want to thank you all for being member owners of Hope Credit Union and Hope Enterprise Corporation. Thank you.
And if I could entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
All right, is there a second?
a second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.